It is the rare and titillating Greg Cody Wednesday, and as an added bonus, a furious Amin El-Hassan has flown in because he continues to be pissed off at how he says we misrepresented his Drew Holiday take, where when Drew Holiday was traded to the Celtics, he called him a corpse, and he's trying to say, but he's a good player. I also said that, but you said he was a corpse. So he's flown in for that, and what I wanted to ask the group, I wanted to take bets from the group on how many impersonations do you think Amin is going to do in that whiny voice that he assigns to others that is his go-to impersonation that he's been doing more and more around here, and it's begun to annoy me because the last time he was here, he did it like 7 different times. Jessica, you do a pretty decent impersonation of Amin's shitty voices as someone else.
Oh, but Amin said Drew Holiday was a corpse.
I'm taking whatever the over is. I'm taking the over.
Where do we set where do
for
we
the
set
full
the number?
show or
Yes.
for like the first segment?
Full show.
Full show.
Well, let's do
Has to be
both.
full
Let's
show.
do both. Because
First segment, I'm going over 2.5.
Well, is there a break in between, or if he doesn't go back to being Amin, is it still the same impression?
it
Correct.
depends on how many. They're all the same impression.
Well,
Yeah.
there's 2 impressions.
Well,
there's
there's-
Obama,
yeah.
and then there's the whiny
There's also
one.
that one,
Right.
but then he also does like a variant of it, which is, oh, I'm sorry. That one. And I'm going to take the side bet
That's a
over
staple, you're
2.5. Oh, I'm sorries.
First segment.
First segment, Mike. That's
No,
aggressive.
full show.
Full show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
2.5?
Over 2.5 for a full show.
That's a lock. I mean,
Okay, I don't know. He is someone who has been doing this more and more, and it feels lazier and lazier. I think he did it 7 or 8 times last show.
It could be he's getting lazier, but also we could be really legitimately triggering him constantly.
I think it's both. I think that is.
Did you trigger me?
2.5. I mean,
2.5 is low. I want to set the number for the show. For the show. I'm going to set the number at 4.5.
over.
I was gonna set it at like 6.5.
He doesn't have that many characters though. It's
But
like 2 characters.
I'm telling you, it's that.
But
Then
he
it's
goes-
Obama as DMX, Obama as Stephen A.
Yeah.
He goes back to the character though several times.
I'm gonna go under. I think he's gonna play the hits. He's gonna do like the same 2 voices over and over again.
Huh.
Billy, what would you bet on Obama if you got a?
Well, actual Obama, 0. I don't see why he would make an appearance today. But
That's not what I was asking you, Billy.
What do you mean?
And you
Let
know
him finish.
You
no,
know
I don't mean actual Barack Obama. I'm saying actual Amin doing a Obama impression doesn't seem like we would need an Obama impression today.
Thanks for clearing that up.
But
It's getting confusing.
We'll get, like the Obama, Stephen A. Obama, DMX Obama. We'll get one of those. You know what I mean?
Did you answer my question?
Yeah.
What was the question?
I think I
Set
did.
the number
You-
on Obama.
I was following.
Barack Obama's not coming today.
Set the number. 1.5.
1.5.
You're going under.
I'm going actual Obama's 0.
See, that's where the mix-up is.
Yeah, it's confusing.
I'll take the over.
That must pay out.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We can't go out, motherfucker, get my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Last year at this time, sports almost killed Greg Cody. He was writing a newspaper column every day off 2 8 seeds in hockey and basketball going all the way to the championship round. And it was almost the end of him. he looks much fresher this year, much more radiant this year, and he does so even though last night he was shitting himself in the press box because he pretends to be objective, but he is not. And the Panthers, had a scary game that again goes into overtime. He gets home at 2:00 in the morning, so we've got the benefit of exhausted Greg Cody today. He has only slept 3 hours.
The best kind of Greg Cody.
Okay, well, we'll see about that. No, I root for my deadline. I root for what makes my job easier.
You say that, but that would suggest you're rooting for the Panthers to lose so you don't have to write about Stanley Cup games, and I don't believe that's true. I believe you want them to get to the finals.
No, I root for what's easier for me that night. I said to an unnamed colleague last night in the press box that can't we get a 4-1 game once in a while? Can't I get a game that's so easy that I go into the third period being able to finish my column and then just fill in the score? Mm-hmm. That's the ideal game from my standpoint, no matter who's winning or losing it. I want an easy game to write.
Dan, I want to stick up for Greg here and say I feel exactly the same way. Last night, I wanted the Mavericks to win just so we could just be done until next Thursday. I don't have to watch any more games.
You have no deadline.
I have a deadline that I have to watch this stuff. I have to watch it, but they have to come in informed. I have to watch these press conferences. I have to know what I'm talking about. If the Mavericks had won, we just get to rinse and repeat talking points for the next week. Oh, my God, it would have been a dream.
But technically not a deadline.
Right.
I mean, like the people like Greg, there are real heroes. They have to stay up and file by the end of a game. I mean, it's you got to send stuff to your editor. Sometimes something happens in the third period that you weren't expecting, and everything you wrote you have to delete. I mean, Greg is a true hero.
I'm sorry for having empathy for Greg and not having exactly the same life he has. Sorry about that. Maybe I should quit my job and go write and write on deadline.
There you go.
So I can be like. So then I can tell Greg I know what you're talking about, and I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Right. I can't do it until I actually live Greg's life. I got to do it for how many years, Greg? 40 years, 50 years,
something like that.
Something like that. Oh, my fault, guys. Right. Empathy for someone who hasn't lived that exact same life. Get out of here with that.
Well, thank you for calling me a hero.
There was an Obama in there somewhere. There was an Obama in there. I heard a little bit of Obama.
There was actually some phlegm is what happened.
Okay.
I've got bitter Stugotz watching basketball late into the night, and he came in today and spit out through the side of his mouth an acidic, what happened to rehabilitated Kyrie last night?
Yeah, nothing happened. They lost. He was terrible. I'm tired of hearing about Kyrie and what a great teammate he is and what a great leader he is and what a great player he is. He is none of the above. I don't want to hear about it. I am serious. He is 6 of 16 last night. 1 of 6. He gave you 18 points in a closeout game. He was dreadful. If we're going to talk about Kyrie after they win and talk about how rehabilitated he is, sorry about that, then we have to talk about how lousy he was after a loss.
Yes.
Sorry. Those are the rules.
You're not sorry. I need to stop you.
I am.
Because you are taking the aggressive lane of just putting the bookmark in where it is you were on the Kyrie commentary before he started winning.
I mean, Dan, all this talk about what a great player he is. He has never won unless he's had a LeBron James or Luka.
Stugotz. He's a great player,
I mean, come on.
Stugotz.
Great.
Stugotz.
Great player.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Hall of very good. I mean,
he's a Hall of Famer.
He literally lost his first closeout game last night in his career.
And
14-1.
Right, but he doesn't get to closeout games without LeBron James, without Luka, without Kevin Durant. He never gets to one on his own, ever.
We will talk about that game in a second because Minnesota did all the dumb shit at the end that they needed to do to lose a season, but they won the game anyway. Karl Anthony Towns getting in dumb foul trouble. Gobert again having foul trouble, foul issues, and they keep attacking him. We'll get to that game in just a second. But because Greg Cody's here and he's tired, we need to ride this particular thoroughbred for the next 4 hours.
Wow.
What
Thoroughhead.
What state is the thoroughhead in right now?
I'm exhilarated right now. I'm both exhausted and exhilarated. I don't have an NBA game. I don't have a hockey game to cover tonight, so it feels like a night off. It's a good thing. I'm taking it one day at a time. The Cats needed to win that game last night. They deserve to win the game. But it was a similar story to the previous game where they dominate the third period, but they don't score that one extra goal, and then they go into overtime, and you're thinking, uh-oh. But here comes the prince of the power play, Rhino, Sam Reinhart, and that guy is money in the bank, and he scored the same kind of goal that he scored 30 times this season, and nobody can stop it. It's an amazing thing to watch.
Greg has bowling tonight. He's fun. I mean,
I do, man. I'm going to be out there.
He's got bowling tonight, but I want you to see what he just did, which is something out of the old sports writer Jim Murray's toolbox, where he takes something that happened in sports and he just tries to make a nickname get off the ground, and it will not.
The Prince of the Power Play.
I kind of like it.
You got an alliteration there.
Sam Reinhart, Prince of the Power Play, is not going to get off the ground, but since the 1920s, sports writers have been talking about the galloping four horsemen and everything else.
Right, you never know.
No,
right.
you do know. That's not going to get off the ground. The Prince of the Power Play is not going to, it's not going to do anything.
Not up to you, Dan.
He already has a nickname, Rhino.
Okay, how about this?
It's been working pretty well for him.
How about this one? Rhino came out with a horn sharp and made the horn loud.
That's good.
As
As
his
a
nickname? Yeah.
Right.
That's a long
bit
nickname.
wordy. Yes.
It's a little wordy for
First
a
one was
nickname.
better.
Came out with
Yeah.
his horn sharp,
His horn was loud.
and his horn was loud.
Yeah.
It's a goal
They were
horn.
playing
so-
on horn.
Exactly
Horny.
right.
You know, you got a
Yeah.
picture of Rhino.
There you
Well,
go.
Horny
Wild.
retired.
Yeah, he did.
Imagine a rhino on ice.
I know, right? Big ass skates.
That'd
How
be
big would
Matt
those
Rempe.
skates be?
You'd think.
The Rhino's foot's like this.
I would think that with a
Unbelievable.
rhino, you wouldn't make a shoe, right? You just have the skate, kind of like a base, and then straps,
Yeah.
like a sandal.
I think so.
Hearing the hockey analysis around here has been a great deal of fun the last couple of days because I got Mike Ryan because Mike Ryan loves his hockey and is listening to an assortment of hockey podcasts. So he feels totally comfortable saying to Bobrovsky, hey, don't allow any rebounds because he's an expert and he doesn't think that Bobrovsky, who's doing something that's pretty hard, should allow any rebounds. Greg Cody comes
some
in here
juicy ones through.
today and he's got all sorts of opinions on what the Panthers should be doing. And then I hear him say right afterward, I tried ice skating a couple of times. It didn't go well. I was very slow in general. Here's all my critique of everything that was done wrong last night.
Well, Greg and I were saying, because I told him about Mike's complaint about Bob and the rebounds he gives up, and I responded to Mike, he's doing it on skates, playing on ice. That's hard. Just skating is hard, let alone playing goaltender. I mean,
I appreciated you telling me what the sport was afterward.
The goalie.
Hockey analysis.
It's good stuff.
Yeah,
No, I just like Igor a little bit better.
The
I think he's better.
goalie is in a no-win situation. Okay, here's the criticism: he gives up too many rebounds. Over here's the criticism: he covers the puck too much and gives up too many faceoffs. The goalie can't win.
I think the rebounds are kind of part of his game. They're not like super threatening, the rebounds that he gives up most of the time. I think he's a little too quick to the ice and he leaves the top shelf open. But that's just me nitpicking, folks. I got actual hockey analysis here.
We're gonna get to it in a second because Igor Shesterkin, one of the most fun names anywhere in sports, is
Igor.
a nightmare to play
Igor.
against. It's the Igor is nice, yes, but watching Verhaeghe, watching how hard it is to get a puck past him, you have to do it out of midair. Watching the goals in that game last night are beautiful. The one that the Rangers got to tie it. When this stat is crazy to me, it's a crazy stat. The Panthers, when leading after 2 periods this year, are 64-0-4 in their last 68 games. They're the best third period team in the league, but the Rangers are the best comeback team in the league, and they're best in close games. So the Rangers tie the game and threaten that the Panthers have not lost a game where they led going into the third period since January.
I've got
crazy.
That's crazy.
got a stat that I think will shock you. The New York Rangers have 1 win in their last 9 regulation games. They're OT merchants. Everyone. I listen to a bunch of New York Rangers stuff, and they want to see Zibanejad play better. They want to see Kreider play better. This is how you stay in this series. 5v5. I think the goals are just about even, or if not, New York Rangers have an edge. Even though 5v5, Florida's got 100 more shots. This is how you stay in the game. You muck it up. You trust that you have the goalie advantage. I think they're doing the exact right thing over there. And if they want to have Panarin go down the middle of the ice or Zibanejad be a bigger, more focal part in the offense, they're going to take more risks. They're going to open themselves up, and they're going to have more quality chances for Florida. One thing for New York is they've been really efficient with their chances. The individual moments of brilliance, they've been hunting bar down. Guys have been playing out of their mind like Gaudreau. But I think this is exactly how you stay in this series if you're in New York, because I think it's pretty evident that Florida is the better team, but that doesn't matter in hockey playoff series, especially when you got one of the best goalies, if not the best in the world.
I concur.
God, he's annoying, Igor. Like that's my takeaway. He's just like we should have way more goals.
I mean, what's annoying is Barclay Goodrow like just going bar down, and he had 4 goals all year, and he's killed you in this series with big plays. And Lafreniere, who came into the league with a lot of fanfare. Like, Lafreniere entered the league with, like, Crosby-type hype.
He's become a star these playoffs, has he not?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, this is a guy that was talked about as being a bust, and he's the best player on the ice, the best skater on the ice, not named Igor Shesterkin.
Or Barkov. Barkov's been great, man. Anytime he touches the puck, no one can get him. No one can get the puck from him.
He had 2 assists, but he was a little frustrating to watch last night.
He had some chances last night.
He did. I get the puck out away from him. I don't know if it's bad ice.
Shesterkin is pretty good.
Yeah. Well, Shesterkin made some just brilliant plays.
Those glove saves.
Such a fan of his. Man. He's just a tremendous player.
And we figured out what a rhino would look like with skates, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. One of the many
sandals,
global observations I will make about the fun of hockey in general this time of year when you put stakes on it. I can't think of a sport that the drama and the stakes get distilled to something that happens so fast that if you're watching on television, the game just ended and you're not sure if it went in the net or not, because every time they're swooping past the net, everything is moving so fast. It's different from football, baseball, all the other sports in terms of they're all methodical in their endings compared to the way that hockey can end, where the difference between 3-1 and 2-2 is monumental, and you've got your heart in your throat the entire third period because of how quickly you can get your heart snatched from you.
It's a lot harder to catch it live. One thing that I'll give ESPN a lot of credit for, they are so quick with the goal graphic behind the boards. It's sometimes it screws up.
They put it up on the one goal that hit like the top. I thought the whole arena, all the Rangers fans went nuts. I thought it was 2-0.
Yeah. Oh, man, that was a hell of a chance. That was another frustrating thing. It's like, wow, these guys are going to put away every quality chance that they have, and meanwhile, we're going to go 1 for 12 on quality chances.
Amin has flown in because he's very upset at the show for misrepresenting him. Yesterday, he won Gas Bag of the Week. Chris, do you have the sound?
Congratulations.
That he gave us on the show immediately after Drew Holiday was traded to the Celtics. He says it doesn't have context, but I don't think this was creatively edited to mess with him. Let's hear what it is that Amin said that he is claiming he did not say.
Going out and get Damian Lillard for Drew Holiday's corpse and some toenail clippings isn't
what are you doing?
Making this team significantly better. What do you mean, what am I doing?
I mean, what are you saying? You're calling people crud and toenail clippings, and you just called someone a corpse.
No. Hey, you think Drew Holiday is at his peak right now?
No, there's a difference between being at your peak and being a corpse. There are a lot of stops between those two things.
Man, it ain't that many more stops.
I've contained my rage for as long as possible, but I shall now unleash like the 1,000 waves breaking upon thee.
That usually doesn't start with
Is that a saying?
Usually the 1,000 waves just land on you and you're dead. That happens very quickly.
Well, that's a wave cresting. That's a wave cresting. There's so much that you guys are this is why people don't trust the media.
Uh-oh.
Hey, every single player who's been misquoted, I apologize. I apologize. Because what happened there? Staggering. Okay, so first of all, Dan sets it up as, this is what Amin said after Drew Holiday got traded to the Celtics. No. This is what Amin said after Damian Lillard got traded to the Bucks. the Holiday part to the Celtics had not happened yet. Had not happened yet. So this was me reacting to Portland getting Jrue Holiday. Of course, you clipped out the part where I said, unless you're getting a sweetheart package for Holiday down the line. Of course, you clipped out the part where I said, hey, he's still a good player.
Well, the part I didn't miss was
you
that
left
he's a
out
corpse.
the part where I said the guy was talking about retirement. Right?
You called him a dead man.
Being a corpse.
Pretty good for a corpse, though.
The next thing I say after that, he's a good player. He's still a good player. I literally walked it back in the fucking moment.
Whoa.
But it's amazing.
Jeez,
It's amazing. Like the edit would just chop it off right, just by accident, right? And that, by the way, does not also factor in some more context. That's just a factual context that you guys cannot escape. You guys edited it in a way that makes it seem like what it's not.
You think Jrue Holiday is at his peak right now?
Is he at his peak right now? You looking at me like you look. Ooh, no, is he at his peak right now? Is he at his peak?
Seems like he's cresting.
Right, number one. Number two, my favorite part about the conversation yesterday is Dan says, he called him a corpse, and he averaged 18 points and 7 rebounds. Am I supposed to be, oh my God, what a monumental Wilt Chamberlain-esque line that was. 18 points and 7 rebounds in a sweep.
Well, it's pretty good for a corpse.
Oh, my God.
Being a corpse.
It's also pretty good for a still pretty good player.
Yeah, but you called him a dead person.
I called him a still good player immediately after that.
A still good player, dead person.
Immediately after that. Yeah, something called walking something back in the moment. And so you might say to me, why did you overreact? I mean, why would you overreact? Why would you go so high, right?
Why would you?
Why would I, right?
mean?
Why would I?
Yeah.
How about the fact that, that trade happened while I was on a flight with no Wi-Fi, had no idea what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I land. Damian Lillard got traded. Oh shit. Okay, let me look up the details and I'll talk to you guys when I get home. No, you got to come on air right now. You got to come on air right now. I'm like, guys, I'll be home in 15 minutes. I'm literally walking.
You were pissed.
Hold on. Because you had ample opportunity to set up context, but you chose not to.
Didn't you take your daughter to a game or something
I will
the day
set
before?
up context. Thank you for identifying the gender of my child. Never been said on air before. So I will provide the context. I will provide the context. That was unprovided yesterday. So I step off the plane. I find out about this. I get asked to be on the show. I said, well, I'll be home in like 15 minutes. Can you guys wait? No, it has to happen right now. I say, fine. I get on. I'm in the Uber heading home. I'm not going to ask my child to just sit and wait in the airport while I do whatever shenanigans you guys want. I'm immediately ambushed by one Guillermo Billy Gill.
Me?
Ambush.
I was ambushed?
I remember that. You got mad at Billy.
Why'd you get mad at me?
He's driving while he's on air.
Oh, yeah, remember that? That wasn't safe. That wasn't safe, if we're going to be honest.
So Dan's like, why are you so upset? I'm upset because I didn't want to do this at this time. I don't want to do this at this time. But because I'm a team player, because my time is your time, right? I could have easily said, no, guys, I'm with my child. We're going to hang out. When I get home, I'll be available. But if you guys don't need me by then that's what. Guess what? You'll have to wait till tomorrow. No, I said, this is a big thing that happened. Yeah. Let me give some reactions. So I give the reaction. I give the reaction under duress, right? Under duress.
It feels like you're blaming us.
Absolutely. I'm blaming you what you said yesterday.
That you called him a corpse. You're blaming us. You're providing all the context.
Well, he got off a flight, Dan.
All the ways we pissed you off. Your commentary was soaked and you were angry at us. I remember it's the angriest you've ever been while giving analysis.
No, second now.
Second angriest. I like this character.
There's a new champ.
Angry analysis guy where your analysis isn't about your analysis. It's about all the resentments you have toward us and the company.
1,000%. 1,000%. And my favorite part is, I was just seeing this yesterday, that Kendrick Perkins apologized for voting for Rudy Gobert for Defensive Player of the Year. But it's like, all that information that's happened in this series has been happening for 6 goddamn seasons at least. Maybe more.
He did more. Kenneth Perkins did more than simply say he regretted his vote. He withdrew his voting and said that he and voters had disgraced the Defensive Player of the Year award by selecting a player that isn't respected by his peers.
But this is it boggled my mind. I'm like, Perk, this isn't something new. We were like, oh, what happened to Rudy Gobert? We knew this about him. Every year this happens. We knew this about him. Meanwhile, my take on Jrue Holiday was A, he's not as good as he used to be, and B, the guy was talking about
your take was
retiring.
He's not as alive as he used to be.
He was talking about retiring, Dan. Yeah. He was talking about, I don't want to do this
Correct.
anymore.
Jimmy Butler did that too.
And most importantly, everything I said was in the context of how he would fit with the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah. With a team that was headed
different fit.
We know where they're headed.
That's the best point you've made so far.
No, the best point I made is I called him a good player, and you guys cut that out.
Yeah.
The second best point I made was the part where I said, hey, unless you have a sweetheart deal for Holiday coming, which they did. So I literally accounted for
so you're taking a victory lap
Absolutely,
now for calling
I was right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you were right.
I was
for
right.
Calling him a corpse. Yes.
I was right.
He swayed me.
Nailed it.
He swayed me. He made a lot of good points, and his tone was good.
I want to apologize on behalf of whoever unfairly edited you. And put you in this
Seems
position.
like you got more than one thing to apologize for, Billy.
Me?
I think we were all right about
Karen, that
hitting
one.
the over too. By the way.
Yeah, we
How
had
many
fun.
times did I mean to a voice? Oh, I mean to the voice. How many times? Wait. Hold on, let me pause 1 second. Oh, he did it again. Because I paused. So
my God.
There's another one.
Taking this to the bank.
Oh. How many more? How many more?
We skyrocketed.
12.
Yeah, I'm up to 12 now. All right, so we have 12 of those. One Obama, one fuck.
One Obama.
We got an Obama?
Yeah,
I didn't hear
Yeah.
Obama.
This is what I'm talking about.
I didn't hear Obama.
One goddamn,
they're
which I
just-
wasn't, and one very awkward gender reveal.
Yes,
just-
that's
they're
what
just-
I had. Yep, that's what
They're
I
just
had.
gonna
Look, I wrote it down.
shoehorn whatever they want in there.
I'm sorry to do this to you. 2 minutes.
Actually, hold on.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, asshole.
Hold on.
2 minutes per asshole.
Wow. 2 minutes.
His argument was compelling. I'm
It was.
not
It was
gonna lie.
good. He changed my mind.
It's a light fine for being an asshole.
But I love how you guys are just gonna
Get out of here.
No, I'm gonna get out
2
eventually.
minutes.
It's all right. Oh, give me the major. You know what? I'm gonna stay right here and give me the major. What's the biggest major you got?
You're
What's
gonna
the
earn this
biggest major you got?
10 minutes.
We've got a penalty, 5 minutes, major asshole.
Okay.
Wow, major
Cool.
asshole.
5 minutes. Cool.
The trail is so good.
Like,
Then get out.
You asked
no,
for it.
I'm taking.
but
Get
this is not a
security.
delayed
Get
penalty.
Frankie up in here.
Oh, Frankie's not in today.
Well, guess what? You assholes are in trouble. Hit it again.
It's not a delayed power.
Well, he's
No,
challenging
okay.
the penalty,
Well,
so it's under
Go to
review, I
commercial.
think.
Yeah,
Take
go-
the
yeah,
show.
go-
Take
yes.
the show
Take the
away
show
from
there.
the listener.
Won't be
and
able
let
to.
him blame me. What do you mean I won't be able to?
You won't be able to because we still have 30 seconds and we're contractually
I'll cut it
obligated.
off right now.
No, you won't.
Right now.
No, you can't.
No, get out of here, asshole. Billy, would you do me a small favor, please, and find that gearhead helmet so that Jessica can give her F1 minute? And also, I'm assuming that Mike has updated NASCAR opinions to give us now that he has become someone who has become obsessed with all things NASCAR. Are you willing, Mike Ryan, to not necessarily challenge the F1 minute, which is very popular? You busy with something, Greg? I'm hearing you type there.
I'm researching show-related.
Okay, you're researching what happened in NASCAR this weekend?
No, I knew that Kyle Larson had done both, the double, the Indy Coca-Cola.
That's the thing. He didn't. He tried. In fact,
he attempted.
I think Mike should be.
No. Actually, the motorsport.
Very impressive helmet and costume situation.
It broke in transport.
So this is Richard Gere.
It's not a Richard Gere. No, it's just a gearhead helmet.
Gearhead helmet.
You want Mike to go first with his NASCAR minute?
I think Mike is the real gearhead of the crew, and I think that this would look great on him, actually. This is the front.
Yeah.
And then you put it on your head.
Okay.
And then these are goggles.
All right.
I don't know if you guys saw the new Mad Max movie, but this looks like a very Mad Max costume design situation.
Okay, we will get to all
Looked
of
better when it was still
Yes,
in one piece.
it's coming
it
apart.
Broke in transport.
Yes,
That's a good look.
We don't make things terribly well here at Metal Arc. Amin El Hassan has gone to the therapy couch. We've gotten him some counseling here for major asshole. He has been afflicted with major asshole, and so we've gotten him some professional treatment in the other.
Out of context, and it robs you of the meaning. It's like they know what they're doing. They know they are purposely misrepresenting.
We will be checking in with him periodically as he files all his complaints at the expense of Metal Arc Media. Go ahead, Gearhead. It does look like Furiosa.
Yeah. The sightlines aren't great on this, so bear with me. I actually don't want to talk about NASCAR all that much. I think the best race of... Man, Sunday was such a bummer because the weather affected it, but Sunday was shaping up to be like the greatest day in motorsports history. You had Formula One having their signature Monaco race, which is a crap race. That's not. I know Jess has said that on the air several times.
Don't spoil the minute.
Yeah, I won't. But moving on, the Indy 500, I don't know if you guys have seen the ratings for what the Indy 500 did. And this was a race that was delayed several hours because of weather. It got 8 million viewers.
What?
Yeah, and I don't know how much of that. I saw some people saying online that this is the first time they lifted an Indianapolis blackout. It's blacked out historically in Indy, so because 300,000 people attend this race. It is quite literally the largest race in motorsports, and that race was really thrilling, including a pass in the final lap. It was just wonderful to see. Kyle Larson actually led a couple of laps late. That was he was kind of going for, let me just say I led at the Indy 500 because he took a bad pit penalty that essentially cost him the race. So a rookie mistake. Remember, he's not an IndyCar driver, he's a NASCAR driver. But all eyes were on him because even though Indy 500 was delayed, he tried his damnedest to make it for the second half of the Coca-Cola 600. He actually arrived on time, but he arrived during a weather delay, and after 200 laps, NASCAR decided to call the race. So Kyle Larson didn't actually complete the double, or 1.5.
And it wasn't like the same thing, like the LeBron thing in 2016. I deserve to get ripped for that one because I doubled and I tripled down within the context of that thing. The very next sentence.
I think what it showed us, what that number showed us is the masses are really hungry for competitive open wheel racing. And Monaco, despite it being a signature event, doesn't really deliver that. And add it to the heap of sports right now that have an arrow pointing up, because that is just a tremendous number.
We've gotten a great many complaints in general about talking about ratings. People
so
don't want
to me watching that show and knowing like, hey, the first obstacle is always this, and then the year that I do it, of course, the obstacle changed. Does anybody care about that context? No.
You mentioned 8 million viewers. It made us all surprised that the interest would be that high in televised racing, which is a bit of a hard sell because it's just, unless you really care about racing, it's a pretty noisy viewing experience and repetitive viewing
and
experience.
Boring. Yeah.
But those numbers are not up for dispute, and so we give you that as context just to tell you that there are plenty of people who care about this, and only Mike does around here as it relates to NASCAR.
Do you guys like Google ratings the day after things that you watch? It's like, is it because were in the media, because like I never once have wondered how many people watched this thing that I watched.
I didn't wonder how many people watched the Indy 500. I just saw, I guess I got on my algo, like that and the graph of like the pole to position finish in Formula One Monaco, where basically like 3 people had a change in their position in the Monaco race, as opposed to what happened in the Indy race, where it's just a lot of passing.
I refuse
if you're
to take
not
any sort of criticism from a person who uses the word algo very nonchalantly in middle conversation.
Hey, I was on your side, asshole. I was on your side, asshole.
Wait, hey, we're not supposed to. Hey, he's in therapy.
It's a private session.
It's a private
This
session.
is a HIPAA violation.
Dick.
Confidentiality.
Don't judge the
You shouldn't
patient.
be listening to that.
Gaslighting.
Absolutely
That should be
irritated for their enjoyment. And that's what I just come down to. Like that whole
Therapy is a judgment-free zone.
Yeah.
Are you ready, Jessica, to do your F1 minute? Did you get it all out, Mike? Because once we've arrived at ratings talk,
I could tell like no one was interested in it. The Kyle Larson thing I thought was a fascinating thing, and he was really devastated by it. He posted something that was probably too long for people to read, and in a sport that not anybody here cares about.
Did he get there in the middle of the other race?
Yeah,
so they
did.
swapped out drivers.
Yeah, you can. You can
That's
actually do that in a pit stop. NASCAR allows that.
Yeah,
with
but
a
like,
waiver.
come on.
Relief driver?
But
he would just hop in the 5. The
he
5's
pissed
his.
off some NASCAR fans, right?
Yeah,
by
you're
doing
making a
this?
joke.
Yeah,
of it.
well, I mean, he very clearly, and Hendrick Motorsports very clearly prioritized that. Several millions of dollars and resources went into Kyle Larson attempting this double, and for him to not actually do it is a huge bummer.
Respect the Coca-Cola 600.
It's a stunt that worked, by the way.
It's stupid. Don't finish what you can't start. I mean, seriously.
You're saying that.
Yeah.
You're
book
saying
coming
that.
out?
Don't finish what you can't start.
I'm getting to it.
I'm getting a lot of screen caps of people getting refunds for your book. I'm concerned.
Wait, what?
Refunds
are being given?
What do you mean?
I've seen a lot of that. I don't
Really?
know.
Why?
Oh, no.
Don't know.
No.
Don't know.
Did they
Gotta be a
request a
mistake.
refund or?
No, that people are confused because they didn't get the book and did get a refund, and so they assumed.
Was
well,
it
this
supposed
is-
to be out already?
Well, the book's not out yet.
I know,
mean,
but it's not. You pre-order.
Listen, there are no refunds. I'm telling you that right now. I'll take it up with Random House right after the show. In fact, I'll do it during a commercial break. There are absolutely no refunds. You bought the book. You bought the book.
That's
Enough.
right.
I mean,
But people have put up.
whether I wrote it or not is not my problem. Whether you get it or not is not my problem. You purchased a book.
Enjoy.
Yes.
I'm simply telling you that people have written us, showing us evidence of them getting refunds for a book they have not gotten. It's the only reason I have the information.
I think there were like 2 different sets of pre-orders, and some people didn't get what other people got.
Some people are upset they didn't get the insert.
So
they
maybe
didn't
a
get the
publisher
autographed
decided
copy.
to do the
too
right
bad.
thing.
You're stuck with the book.
Seriously.
I mean, yeah.
Dummy.
Okay.
Or not.
Or not.
If
They're
it's ever
getting-
written,
up
who
with
knows?
Stan Sig. I mean,
They're
I'll take it
getting
up with him.
refunds,
Right.
Stugotz. Like you keep saying you can't have your money back when they've already gotten their money back, and the only reason I know it is because they're providing proof that they got their money back.
Listen, I got paid, so I mean the refund comes from Random House, not from me. I promise. I
got it in
assure you, I
advance?
am not wiring anyone any money. I mean, how about that?
You got an advance?
Oh, a big one.
Okay, because nobody believes this book is going to actually get made.
Daddy doesn't write for free, Dano.
You get others to write for free. You don't write.
Yeah.
Daddy doesn't write.
I speak.
Daddy doesn't write anything.
And not well.
Jessica,
No more daddies.
Jessica,
Money back.
are you ready to give us your F1 minute? Did Mike spoil some of it?
No.
I
There wasn't really much to spoil, Dano.
I enjoyed just the gargantuan amounts of wealth coming out of Monaco, which does gargantuan amount of wealth pretty well before F1 gets there. The amount of people showed up with giant yachts only to have them dwarfed by other giant yachts was a bit mesmerizing to behold. Sort of as the world burns with climate change, this sport spending this way around can we go faster toward our own death is fascinating to watch.
It's completely absurd. As is this helmet, this gearhead helmet. I woke up early. I did a little Dyson air wrapping this morning, and I don't like this. I don't want to wear this.
It looks good.
It looked better on Mike.
Okay, let's start the imaging so she could get through this minute as fast as possible.
Young Richard Gere also looks a lot like Miles Teller. People don't talk about that enough.
That's American Gigolo Richard Gere.
And there's no Chicago Richard Gere on here, which I find very underwhelming.
Looks like me at age 25.
Where's the gerbil?
It's lights out in Monaco, and Charles Leclerc has a great start. Will the Monaco curse end today? His teammate Carlos Sainz has a puncture, and he's pulled over. But wait, Kevin Magnussen makes contact with Sergio Perez, and the Red Bull is destroyed. It'll be a red flag, and the cars come into the pits. At the restart, Charles Leclerc has a fresh set of tires and 75 laps to go. The Monegasque driver leads the Monaco Grand Prix, and he's still in the lead. And he's still leading. And there's 60 laps to go, and he's still in the lead. Still going.
Yep, still leading.
No one's passing him.
Nope.
And he's still going, just 40 laps left. And Charles is still in front at the Monaco Grand Prix, his home race. And he's still going, just 20 laps now.
Yeah, still leading.
Is this boring to any of you guys? Yeah, exactly. And Charles Leclerc crosses the finish line at the Monaco Grand Prix. The Monegasque driver for the first time wins his home race. The curse is lifted.
Not a lot of drama. Plenty of super yachts. I cannot dismiss Greg Cody saying that he looked at 25 like American Gigolo Richard Gere.
Yeah, very similar. I've been told that over the years.
Richard Gere was a national and international sex symbol in that movie.
Yep, thank you.
Paid to have sex with women because he was beautiful, and you're saying that you were that at 25.
Yeah, well, you didn't know me in the late 70s. That's all I'm saying. Monaco, the most pretentious city. I went in a
city-state.
I went in a casino there once,
Yeah.
and you can't even. They ask you to take off your hat if you're wearing a hat. What am I going into church? Get over yourself.
What happened there?
That's not really pretentious to ask you to remove
Greg.
In a
hat.
casino?
I mean,
I think in Vegas, they'll turn you away from clubs if you don't have pants on, right?
And Vegas also had a Monte Carlo. The Jabberwockies were there.
But not a casino, though.
There's pretentious places like that here. I agree, though. Monaco, that is the appeal of the race is that it's old.
Monaco?
What happened there?
Monaco is
not a tomato,
pretentious.
tomato.
It is.
But that's not the reason it's pretentious.
Vegas
because
asked me to
you
remove
can't
the hood
wear
from
a
my hoodie.
cap.
It was
can't
cold
wear
out.
a
I
hat.
came
It's
inside.
Vegas.
Take it off.
You're taking my money. Now you're going to take my hat? Silly. Come on.
But yes, it is very silly. The entire thing is very
Thank you.
silly. I agree.
You'd think they could afford their own
Generally.
hats.
Weird emphasis.
That's right.
Monaco is one of the most pretentious cities in the world, always has been.
Monaco.
Not because they ask you. We already covered that.
So no. This is the Dan Le Batard Show way. For the rest of time, hey, do you know how Dan says Monaco? He says Monaco. He says it every time. He still says it to this day. He says Monaco. Hey, awful announcing. How about that for a headline? Le Batard pronounces Monaco. I don't know how you'd spell it. So that
WFAT.
One of the things that has happened over the last 3 years or so, Stugotz, is through a whole set of circumstances away from work and around the building of a business that I've just, people have heard me lament how it is that I've just sort of had difficulty summoning enthusiasm for just about anything. Because of what the last 3 years have been.
Right.
But there have been a couple of strange places recently where something has gotten stirred, and I'm like, how did that get there? I'm reacting unreasonably to that as someone who's 55 years old and has been a little bit dead inside for a bit.
Joe Mauer, Hall of Fame?
No, but it's close to that. It's one, the sheer rage I feel unexpectedly and with a lack of self-awareness when I watched the game, give my analysis, and then am accused of not having watched the game.
Oh,
like what the anger that it summons in me.
Those 10 points again
is uncommon. But also, and this one really surprised me. I didn't see this coming from any angle. Chris Whittingham's face, just its arrival, used to make me smile. But he has taken such a horrible heel turn here where he is doubling down so stubbornly on his anti-Panther takes that he has now become a full-blown Rangers fan.
Yep.
He has betrayed everything we are. He has left the nest. We are all loving and proud of him.
He's donning a blue sweater right now.
And he's just decided to do the worst of things, which he's become a Rangers fan. He's actively rooting against the Panthers.
He also has a perfect face. Very smooth skin. You need a blemish on your face somewhere.
Overrated.
Yeah.
He has de-aged considerably.
Right.
In the last however long it's been since he left. It's like the opposite of what happens when the president takes office, right? He left office and then he just de-aged.
When he was here and had to work with Stugotz, his face was blemished just from the stress of having to deal with all of Stugotz's lies.
You need a mirror? I mean.
And Whittingham, I'm sorry, did you leave because of me or Stugotz?
The whole thing, really.
How is it that you have arrived at being a Ranger fan? Because it's infuriating.
I would say considerable stubbornness. Let's start there. I'm a very stubborn guy. I get my heels dug in, and I got my heels dug in when the Panthers were 3-1 down in the first round of last year's playoffs. I realized at some point in last year's regular season that I just didn't want the Panthers to win anymore. And then once we got through the playoffs, as each time they kept advancing, it became worse for me. And my friends started hounding me more and more about this. Then I realized I'm just going to dig my heels in even more. And then I've moved to Connecticut in the last 6 months to work for CBS. I'm very close to Madison Square Garden. It's a quick little jaunt over on the Amtrak to Penn Station.
Oh, God.
And so
I
can go see my local team. And I've decided that the New York Rangers are going to be my spite team. And now I've invested like $400 in spite. It's great.
Woody, would you agree that the epitome of your stubbornness is your continuing loud wrong take on the Tkachuk-Huberdeau trade?
Yeah, I would say that's the epitome of it. But also, I mean, what? He's got a goal in this round, one goal in this round. Before that, he had an empty netter, a goal and a defeat. I mean, what has he done in these playoffs? All this guy does is bully the opposition. It's the most tedious thing to watch.
Sent him
when
to
you
the
watch
Stanley Cup
after
final.
every single time that there's a puck cover, there's an elbow, there's a punch in the face, there's some words. I love nothing more than Chris Kreider last night grabbing that guy's mouthpiece and chucking it in the stands. I wish he would do it every single time. I wish he would run out of mouthpieces.
It actually bounced back.
Ridiculous.
If it went into the stands, it would have been a game misconduct.
Chucking it into the stands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you've already outlined it, so there's no gotcha. This is the most stubborn thing I've ever seen. And what's weird is, like, yeah, we hound you now, but we've been trying to get you back. And the second you throw your hands up, say, I'm sorry, I was wrong about that. We'd welcome you back. We would.
No, you wouldn't.
We would take you back.
We would.
Yes. You were a part of our circle.
Because then you'd make me celebrate Tkachuk things, and I don't want to. I don't like the guy. I will never like the guy. You cannot make me like the guy. If I said right now, okay, you know what? I'm back with the Panthers. I'm in. You're gonna make me like the guy. I don't want to. Don't make me like him. And don't make me like the coach either, because I don't want to either.
But Whitty's local team just won the Biden Cup, so he's
right.
doing better.
And we just got to split away from home in this big Eastern Conference
While getting
finals.
outplayed the entire time.
Getting outplayed. Who cares? Let's talk about the results. We got the results. And also outplayed. There've been 3 overtime games in this series.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like what? How do you define outplayed? The only game in which there was a decisive margin was Game 1, and the decisive margin came from an own goal and an empty netter. Like there has been no decisive margin in this series. It has been incredibly tight. Both goaltenders have been brilliant, and two of the overtime games went to the Panthers. 2 of the overtime games went to the Rangers, and 1 went to the Panthers.
Just there are fans that stick with their team through thick and thin, and you were one of those fans. To have your hill to die on be Jonathan Huberdeau,
Just gross,
who stinks,
awful,
who's regarded as the worst contract in the league right now. All this for Jonathan Huberdeau.
Yeah,
it's not like they built you a stadium and bilked you and sold off the team and had a fire sale. It's not any of that. It was Jonathan Huberdeau.
Even Huberdeau said it was a good trade.
I don't think it's just about Huberdeau, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's more an indictment on you guys. You drove this guy away from his own hometown team to root against them to lose, than it is an indictment on him.
We didn't make him.
Well, he's telling you guys have annoyed him to the point that he wants to watch his hometown team lose.
I think he
vocalized
that this happened something. This
you made
was
him
something
move to
internal.
Connecticut to get away from this.
He was a Panther fan last regular season. This wasn't something that happened after the trade. Like, he still was rooting for the Panthers throughout an entire season. I have photographic evidence of him going to a game with my wife and my daughter. I didn't mean to gender reveal there. I'm sorry about that. My wife and my child. And I went with Chris Whittingham to a Ducks game, and we were rooting for the Panthers. And then something after that, it went off the rails where just Matthew Tkachuk drove this man crazy by proving, without a shadow of a doubt, that his hill to die on is a fallacy. It's Jonathan Huberdeau. They made a great trade.
But it wasn't just the trade of Matthew Tkachuk for Jonathan Huberdeau. It was, I'm telling you guys, it was that first game broadcast of last regular season when Paul Maurice and the entire broadcast crew tried to tell me that everything you just watched for the last 2 years was nonsense hockey that could never win and blah, blah, blah. And we've got to be more physical. We got to play playoff-style hockey from day one. I really like that team. I really like watching them. I really like going to every game. I don't like watching this team anymore. This team's not fun to watch anymore.
Oh, you say that? You're getting outshot by 100, 5v5. Are you watching the Rangers play? Because you're leaning into that style now.
Mike, we try to play. We try to pass.
You try to play?
Yeah. We try to create chances, and we're being overwhelmed right now a little bit.
Well,
we're going to
create
keep going.
them then, asshole.
That first period last night.
How about this? Don't try to create chances. Actually create them.
Yeah, they were shots on goal.
Bobrovsky has more points than Mika Zibanejad.
The Rangers were
pucks on goal,
winning the series.
Just keep flinging the puck at the goaltender.
Yeah, that's playoff
like
hockey. You familiar?
That's what you do. Yeah. I'm telling you what happened here, and it happens, Mike. I'm telling you. Look at the video of Whittingham, okay? The Mecca is what happened to Whittingham.
Yeah.
The Mecca can get anyone, and it got Chris
They
Whittingham.
lost that game.
It doesn't matter. He had fun.
To the Panthers. Yeah. They lost that game.
The atmosphere last night, how can you guys defend what the Ammer whatever arena provided last night in terms of atmosphere? No,
for the Rangers.
The first two periods,
I can't
the Rangers fans were the ones making all the noise. You can tell that arena was tight.
Well, I would say
so was New York before you guys got that overtime win in Game 2.
Yeah, get his ass, Chris. Yeah. So, we had, as you know,
did you guys have a fun time at Game 2 watching your team lose?
Up until
we did. We did have a fun time. I just love. You know what's happened? There's a bunch of annoying New Yorkers that have moved down here, and to even the odds, we just sent your ass.
He's doing very well with the condescending tea. It's a great character to make a point and then sip the tea with the tag hanging out.
And I think you're wearing makeup, asshole.
If anyone else,
I think you put on some foundation for this hit. You got foundation on you.
Wearing makeup.
He's being accused
of situation.
That is. Well, I mean, I'm under lights. I got an Italian T-zone. What's his excuse? That is a filter. It's a filter. Yeah, there you go.
He is cop to it.
There it is.
I mean,
That's
someone
a pro.
via Twitter is writing, please find the one of many clips of Amin talking about his son playing basketball or his twin daughter getting mad at Billy Gill for a gender reveal that he's revealed multiple times is nasty work.
Yeah, let's keep talking about it, Dan. I really want this to continue to be a topic on the show today. I really love that. I love you and Mike hearing me in the break say, guys, yeah, I really don't like talking about that. And say, you know what would be funny? If we just keep talking about it.
We acknowledge what happened awkwardly on the air.
I didn't hear you say that.
Did you say that? I mean, because I didn't hear it either.
Okay, my bad. I didn't hear it.
What are their names?
This is the sort of tension that has made me de-age.
To be fair, I only revealed that I had a daughter there.
I'm moving to Connecticut next.
You're welcome. We'll be at the next Rangers game together.
Whittingham, you are doing things with fandom that I don't think are allowed. I don't think you're. Put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Are you allowed to go from being a Panther fan to a Ranger fan in 1 year?
Well, Whitty, what happens if the Panthers advance to the Cup and they play a team from the Western Conference? Are you going to root for the Panthers? What are you going to do?
No, he's going to root against them.
God, no.
Ever?
If only he had
Really?
a recent experience to borrow from. He was rooting for the Knights.
Man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to Fanatics.com, see what Dallas Stars gear is on discount, and that'll be the gear you see me in next time. Are the Dallas Stars winning that series? I don't really watch hockey, if I'm being honest.
Done with this guy.
I love that.
Well, and if we're being honest, for the first time, the reason he left the company is because he has 13 grid of death punishments he owes, and he didn't want to pay any of them, and so he just left the company.
How did Whitty leave and turn into Stugotz? I don't understand how this happened.
It's a great path upward.
Yes.
Next thing that Whitty will do is not write a book and
No
get a bunch
refunds.
of
I'm
money
telling you right
from
now.
our
I mean,
listeners.
you might want a refund. You're not getting a refund. I don't care if you ask for
There's
one. I don't care if
already-
you got the
there's
money.
Stugotz.
I'm coming to get it
Stugotz,
back.
I contributed to a chapter. How is it not being published yet?
November, December, holidays. That's how we do it in the book world.
You keep saying no refunds while people are sending us proof that they've already gotten refunds
So
they
they
didn't want
think,
because
yeah.
they want the book. They
Right.
don't want the refund.
They'll get it in November. I mean, that's when it's coming out.
But they're getting their refunds now. They won't get it in November if they're getting their refund.
Right. Well, I'll send them a book and charge them double. I mean,
There
what do
you
you
go.
want from me? Yeah.
No book for them.
Yeah.
If they're asking for a refund, write them off the list. No longer eligible for a book.
Whittingham, good talking to you. Not really.
Yeah, not really. Get out of here.
If you guys want to watch today, the UEFA Europa Conference League final, Fiorentina taking out Olympiacos, I'll be on the call on Paramount Plus. 3 p.m. if you want to check it out.
Mike Ryan here. We've got Dustin Diamond as our throwback interview in the chat room today. Do you remember him? Screech from Saved by the Bell? I bet you do. Throw on your pleated shorts and a muscle shirt, because class begins now.
child stars, Stugotz. That's hard, becoming a child star. What would you say, Dustin, to any parent that has aspirations for their child to become a huge star?
Run. Run as fast as you can.
So if I let you go back in time, you would not do Saved by the Bell? You'd rather be just Dustin Diamond than Screech?
I would be a carpenter, my friend. Or a disco dancer.
It was that bad, huh?
I'll tell you, man, it's rough, and it's gotten worse, because for kids now, you've got, we were the first live-action sitcom in the world for kids. I mean, we had, we were up against Bugs Bunny and the Smurfs. Then Peter Angle rode that, the coattails of that success and put everything Peter Angle on the morning. California Dreams, Hang Time, Malibu CA, City Guys, he put everything. And we killed Saturday morning cartoons. Nowadays, everything, you got all the Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana. We're the reason for that. I kind of feel bad. And with YouTube and paparazzi now, forget it. They slip up once and they're done.
Do you have any stories from the set of Saved by the Bell that are just crazed and tawdry for the age that you were?
What do you think? What do you think I wrote the book for, my friend? I was sitting at home one day. The E! True Hollywood Story came on, and they said, up next, E! True Hollywood Story, Saved by the Bell. And I went, oh, my goodness. I better sit down and watch this. They didn't interview me. What embarrassing things are they going to show? And they didn't go into anything. I mean, the girl that accused Mario of rape, that NBC had to sweep under the rug. I mean, any steroid use or anything that went down, all the questions that people asked me, who was hooking up with who, and was there drugs on the parties, what was it like being 12 years old invited to the Playboy Mansion? Nobody ever went into any of this on the E! True Hollywood Story. Well, we started November of 1998. It aired in 89. We're in 2009. This is the 20th anniversary. Everybody I know was like, dude, you got to write a book. So I did.
We sort of really just glossed over something here, Stugotz. Steroids on the set of Saved by the Bell? Did you just throw that in there?
You know what's funny is that people commented on that, and then they, everyone acts shocked. It's like, oh, sex, drugs, and rock and roll in L.A. and Hollywood? Oh, my goodness. So what's he doing? He must be just bitter or he must be angry at the world. No, it's Hollywood, and I was there. I mean, are people really shocked at this? Like you said, Drew Barrymore, rehab at 12. This is what Hollywood does to kids, and this is what it was about. Not enough parental guidance, not enough direction. There's no instruction book to guide you or the parents on it. Little kids making lots of money with hormones raging and too much power and too many parties. It's
Yesterday, we celebrated the reign of incompetence over umpiring that ended with Angel Hernandez's negotiated retirement. What are you shaking your head about, Billy?
Sad day.
It is.
I agree.
Heartbreaking.
I was sad about that.
He will be bringing his bad judgment back to Pembroke Pines here and being a blight on South Florida in retirement. Very few people in the history of incompetence have been allowed to work for as long, signaling the strength of an umpires union that is really a reason to root against unions. Just, I'm not
careful there.
I'm not anti-union. I'm just saying this kind of
anti-umpire union.
I'm anti this kind of incompetence being rewarded for 3 decades, where everybody in the sport was like, "This guy's bad at his job. Nobody here respects his judgment. Why is he allowed to be a judge for 30 years?" When all of us can agree on nothing except Angel Hernandez is bad at this. Finally, they run him off yesterday, negotiated settlement that is filed as retirement that needed to be immediate. Couldn't wait a day, couldn't wait till the end of season. Just right away, get out. And let's just play some clips here. Give me an assortment. We have an assortment of things he's gotten wrong, both audio and video of people going crazy because he's been terrible. He's especially bad behind home plate, but he's bad all over.
Here it comes. Called strike 3, and Schwarber is thrown out of the game, and he had 0 issue with getting thrown out. Making it very clear, you've missed him inside, outside, up and down. Kyle Schwarber thrown out after being punched out by Angel Hernandez.
I feel like you guys are going to miss him.
I already do.
Thank you.
This was good for baseball.
The clips
right?
on Twitter, like the clips on Twitter of just boom. Terrible call after terrible call.
I literally have nothing to talk to Mike Schur about anymore.
Right. He was good for our show, yes.
We're going to be worse off as a show when the robots get here and we can no longer do the age-old thing in sports of just complaining about the refs and umpires. Give me another clip. There are thousands.
Whoa. 2-1. And, oh, my goodness.
Late movement.
2-2.
Oh, no.
You have got to be kidding me. What in the world?
3-pitch strikeout, all balls.
Looked like a strike to me.
That's all. I mean, look, when I grew up, the strike zone was ankles to letters. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Angel
That's
stayed
right.
true to that.
Yeah.
All of those pitches were far outside. Give me another one of just incredulous players and announcers.
Don't do it, Angel. Fringe and Rizzo.
Whoa, man.
And a strike 3 call on a pitch that Yadiel.
Oh, he likes those outside pitches.
But it gives you that edge.
I mean, I would have swung at all of these.
Yeah.
It's a great job framing by that catcher.
Slow it in. Ball.
Check with
Said he went around.
He's at third base.
Let's see that one from a side angle, though.
That's so great.
Put him in a bad spot.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. And I'm sorry for being slow to this. Hubert don't is more like it. Yes or no? Because Greg Cody wanted to get that in there. He was anti-Huberdeau, and so he made him Uber don't.
Yeah, tried to sneak that in.
Billy, I thought that perhaps I could get some opinion out of you on everything that is happening here with not LeBron James, but the reports that Bronny has declined workouts for everyone except the Lakers and the Suns. Stugotz has a list of top 5 teams that LeBron has given a subtle wink to.
Yeah, a nod, Dan. A
Okay,
nod, yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
A flirtatious nod, not a wink, just a silent communication. This report, though, I'm assuming
is absurd. The Bronny report is absurd. Bronny, we've been told back and forth, one, he's this great prospect. But then he wasn't a great prospect. And it was like, he's a little kid. Leave him alone. Don't talk about him. He's just a kid. Why is everybody hyping him so much? Because you told us to, LeBron. That's why. Now you see his stats and like, should this guy be in the NBA draft after a season? Maybe he should stick around a little bit longer and, get a little bit better at basketball before he goes to the NBA, right? But no, he's going to come out here after averaging, 4.8 points a game, which isn't ideal.
Clutch points, though.
Yeah. Then there's talks about where he's going to go in the draft.
Clutch management. He scores at the right time.
But he doesn't want to be known for being LeBron's son, which is insane, right? So you would think if you don't want to be known for being LeBron's son and just an appendage of LeBron going wherever LeBron goes, then you'd go to any team that drafts you, right? No, because 10 teams invite you to work out, and you said, no, I'm not going to work out for 8 of them. In a league that you don't belong in, and you're only going to get into because of who your father is. But you don't want to be known for being your father's son. It's insane. I feel like yesterday we went beyond the whole, because there was talk out there, Dan, in the office about how they feel bad for Bronny. Feel bad for Bronny that he's going through all this. Why? Because his dad put him through this. His dad is getting him into the NBA, which he probably shouldn't be in. He's averaging 4.8 points in college.
First-round pick.
Why would he be a first-round pick in the NBA when you average 4.8 points? Why are you in a position to be turning down teams that want you to play for them when you average 4.8 points in college? And you've decided after 1 year, that's enough, I'm ready for the NBA.
Don't forget, he's 3 inches shorter than they told us.
That's
too.
another thing.
Yep.
That's another thing. I understand. I feel bad that he's 19 years old and he's going through this, but you're not making this any easier. Why are you doing this? Why don't you work out for everyone that wants you to work out for them? If you don't want to be just known as LeBron's son, go play for another team. Get drafted wherever you get drafted. Don't just pick your dad's team and your dad's friends' teams in Phoenix. What are you doing?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that stuff because it seems as though LeBron and Rich Paul, the leverage is Phoenix, right? That's what they're angling for. It doesn't seem like Udonis has said he's flatly not leaving Los Angeles.
Ishbia is being used as a tool here as the radical owner who will do anything to get attention. And the friendship with Durant and playing with that transaction stuff. What do you mean LeBron could end up with Durant and Booker and everybody else? This was a purposeful leak. It's a strange story to come out that Bronny refuses to work for anybody in workouts except for the Lakers and Suns.
See, the weird thing is I think what Rich is doing is he's being an agent. He is trying to get his client the best possible situation. So he talked about, I believe he went on Cam and Mace's show and said, we're not doing a two-way deal. And he's saying that as an agent who does not think that that is in the best interest of his client for several reasons of the restrictions of the two-way deals. He has no problem playing the G League, but it's not going to be on a two-way deal. It's going to have to be on a full NBA salary.
Those are usually done with second-round picks, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, but there are.
He doesn't want to do them. He wants them picked in the first round.
Well, no, there are second-round picks that do get full salaries that aren't two-way players. Rich is doing all of this because he's like, I'm trying to get the best options and scenarios for my client. The problem is his client is the son of his most famous and most powerful and best client. And so everything that happens to Bronny is seen through the lens of Uncle Rich and Daddy LeBron are trying to game the system, when the reality is this is what any agent would try to do for a player if they had the ability and the leverage to do it.
Should a player of his skill set be declining workouts?
But again, if my agent says to me, I can get you drafted in the first round and we don't have to work out for all these
But
teams.
he's going to get drafted in the first round not because of him.
But it doesn't matter. Why would he?
But if he wants to make himself independent from his father.
But
he doesn't, Billy.
He doesn't.
Right.
I hope Portland drafts him. I hope they draft him at 7. Your move, LeBron. You're going to go to Portland. I hope they draft him at 7.
Actually, you know what's funny?
I hope Pop drafts him at 8. Oh, LeBron, you always wanted to play for me? Now's
go
your chance,
there,
buddy.
maybe.
Come to San Antonio.
That's a good spot, though.
I'll tell you
Bronny and
what the worst case scenario would be is that he gets drafted by Phoenix because then LeBron's got a real tough decision.
Yeah. I hope he goes to Utah.
I got to take minimum?
Oh, I hope he goes to Utah.
That's the only path to LeBron, right? A minimum contract?
Either that or convince the Lakers, hey, so Bradley Beal.
I mean, you're only taking Bronny if indeed you want LeBron. Right? Or if you think
And
LeBron's going to go there.
As a first
Otherwise,
round
you're
pick?
not taking Bronny.
As a first-round pick,
Yes,
sure. Yeah.
exactly.
But my point is, if Phoenix takes Bronny with a first-round pick, Phoenix is hopelessly capped out. So LeBron's got one or two decisions, either to find a way to hypnotize the Lakers into taking the poo-poo platter from Phoenix, or you could sign for minimum. You could sign, come over here and just play for tens of millions of dollars under what your market value is. And then LeBron's got to make the decision like, wait a second, how much do I love my son?
That's the thing. You need to test LeBron's love for his son right here. If you're one of these bad teams that's never going to get LeBron, you test his love for his son. And you test all this bullshit that he's been saying, oh, my dream is to play with my son. Really?
Yeah.
You want to play in Detroit with your son?
So you test LeBron and you don't try to make your team better.
Exactly right.
I
Yeah.
love it.
You test his love for his son.
Don't you guys find it interesting that everyone's saying that this is one of the most, this is not a great NBA draft, right? Like, there's not a lot of great prospects in this draft, and yet this is like the big enigma of the draft, and this is going to be driving all the conversation. Are there any conspiracy theorists out there who think that this might be something that LeBron as well as the NBA have
cooked up
to bring attention to a draft that not many people would care about?
I've heard worse theories.
It's a perfect story, and I'm surprised that it's such a perfect story that it has resident anarchist Billy Gill.
Orlando at 18 would be great. Oh, I hope you love Disney World, LeBron.
The playoff team.
Yeah, that's going to be a great situation for LeBron.
LeBron James is not going to play for the Orlando.
He didn't give the nod.
Let's be very clear about this
Play
right
the
now.
Cavaliers.
Yeah, because he was born there.
Akron. I mean, if he were from Kissimmee, it'd be a different story.
And we told you. Coach Bickerstaff is coaching for his job, and you guys laughed and scoffed at us when we told you
Monaco.
Kissimmee is a good comedic choice there as a word.
What's the difference between Kissimmee and St. Cloud? Because they're always paired together.
It's like Minneapolis, St. Paul, Twin Cities.
I've never heard. Wait, what is the other city?
St. Cloud.
I've never heard of St. Cloud in my life.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Dan.
You guys go to Disney a lot.
I am
You know all the
surprised.
suburbs.
That is South Florida Cuban right there going to
Don't
Disney
get me started
a
on
lot.
Celebration.
You are normally
of
an
that.
anarchist, and you are sitting here rooting for the establishment.
I'm rooting for a family to fall apart, apparently.
That too.
Ooh, we just have a Woj bomb that that plays into this conversation that we're having. David Fizdale is returning to the Phoenix Suns.
Wow. Okay. Fizz.
Smoke. Oh,
wow.
And you know what they say about when there's smoke? There's fire.
Smoke bomb.
You are normally an anarchist. I would think that you would enjoy somebody who otherwise doesn't have any value dictating to the system how it is it's going to go just because he's the son of somebody who's trying desperately to change the way the power dynamics work in the system.
If I'm going to be honest with you, it's really the Ethan of this all that drives me crazy. Because Ethan's out there telling me I should feel bad for Bronny. And no, buddy, I don't feel bad for Bronny. That's not what's going on here. Everybody's trying to make us feel bad for Bronny because he's in this impossible situation that he has put himself in. He's in this position because of him and his father. He shouldn't even be in this position. But we have to keep hearing about it because of a position he's put himself in. And then we're like, I don't know. This doesn't all seem to be adding up. It's like, whoa, don't. He's a kid. Don't say that. He's a kid. It's like, well, hold on a second. He should be interning somewhere. That's what 19-year-olds do. They intern somewhere. They get ready for their sophomore year of college, and they say, you know what? I don't know what I want to do with my life. That's what he should be doing at 19 years old.
You can intern for the Suns next year.
Yeah.
Get some minutes.
In the media relations department. Isn't it true, though, that Bronny is in the situation he's in because of his heart ailment, largely? The 4.8 is due to him missing most of the season, coming
it's an
back.
average.
Okay.
He averaged 4.8.
Right.
It's not like they get all your points and they average it out amongst all the games and it combined and went down to 4.8.
Yeah, but the heart thing definitely affected his stats.
Okay, and he has since been medically cleared.
Yes.
Okay. Now, before the heart issue, before the 4.8, he was definitely considered a pro prospect.
Only by his father.
Before people watched him play.
Amin would always talk about the actual pro prospects, and they weren't as bullish.
Yeah, I mean, he was a well-recruited player, but he wasn't a blue chip. He wasn't like...
He was a second or third round, right? He was a second-round pick.
It's only 2 rounds.
Right. That's why I stopped.
Well, yes.
Saving a few.
You didn't stop, though, at the right time. You stopped a couple of you stopped a couple of steps late.
Which, by the way, it's not his fault that he's not as good as his father, obviously.
Right. I think that's one of the reasons
be.
that
Right.
people feel
No,
bad
one person
because
is.
it would probably be very hard to be LeBron James's son. Even though I agree, Billy, a lot of this, LeBron himself has projected before his son was old enough to make his own decision. So there's a lot of stuff that he's now kind of grown into. Even though he is technically an adult, he's still very, very young. And the guidance he's getting is largely from his father and, like, you know, the other agents and stuff that his dad knows. And maybe it's hard to make decisions independent of what other people in your family think of your head.
He should be grateful. I mean, he should. That his dad is willing to do this for him. He is going to make a kid who is averaging 4.5 points per game, no business being a lottery pick in the NBA. He's going to make him a first-round pick.
Which, by the way,
what a great job. He should be dad of the year.
LeBron's opt-out 3 days after the draft is simply incredible. Because then he gets, do I want to go there? No. Yep. I'm going back to L.A.
He controls it.
The announcement that he's going to be a free agent was more muted than it normally is, but that the guy who is both the youngest player to ever make an All-NBA team and the oldest player to ever make an All-NBA team, that he still has this power that can just over on the side create both economy and interest around his son, where I'm guessing the majority of the audience, who is the name prospect by leaps and bounds that you know in this draft, a weak draft? Whether you like it or not, it's the son of LeBron James with just collateral interest on the side, another clutch management economy of how do we create value over here for something that might not have value on the fumes of what LeBron is.
Yeah, it's a good conspiracy theory if you think some people are in cahoots.
It's super interesting to think of the league needing to transition out of the LeBron years, and the way that it goes younger is by wondering, will he go to Phoenix and team up with Kevin Durant? And all of a sudden, basically Bronny becomes Giannis Antetokounmpo.
But hold on a second.
That's a fine.
The league has so many young stars. You don't need to rely on LeBron and Bronny to be getting the attention at this point. You should be focusing on the league.
I mean,
I agree, Billy.
I don't want to have the ratings conversation, but you know they're struggling to create new marquee stars.
They need LeBron still.
The John Moran thing kind of caught them in a moment where we're like, wow, we were ready to make this guy the face of the league.
There is definitely like the big blue button meme in NBA media where you like slap the LeBron button and immediately like there's amplified attention to whatever you're doing because he's the greatest player of all time.
You guys just weren't old enough to remember when Jordan retired. How thirsty the league was.
Yeah.
The second time. After 98, the league was desperate for like, just give me something, anything.
The first time too, they made Penny Penny was a great player.
Grant Hill.
Yeah.
But it's like
dying to make those guys.
But like the second time, because we really thought, like the first time was like, oh my God, he retired so early. The second time was like, oh yeah, this is it. He just ended it on the perfect, hit the shot. It's it. That's it. He's not coming back. And so this search for anything was so severe. And then what ends up happening is he comes back a couple years later, plays for the Wizards, and this is right after 9/11. It's like Michael Jordan is going to save us from 9/11 like economy dips, right? And by the way, he did. The team that led the league in road attendance that season was the Washington Wizards, even though they were terrible. This is where LeBron is headed. He's going to be like a traveling man. He's going to end up playing for like 17 different teams, just saving the league on attendance and ratings alone.
I just want to be clear. Did you say he saved us from 9/11?
It's what it sounded.
No. The economy helped bring the
economy and the aftermath.
LeBron,
No, but you know,
Jordan brought the economy.
This is the Dan Le Batard show. You could say Jordan saved us from 9/11. Just go ahead, run with it, and say it happened in Monaco.
Yeah. Everyone knows it was the George W. Bush pitch.
Right.
I thought it was the drive.
Full two-seamer.
Now watch this drive.
That shit was heat right down the middle.
Man, honestly, we've talked about it before. When you consider the pressure, that is one of the greatest athletic feats I've ever seen.
No doubt.
Top 5 athletic presidents in history.
Let's
Lincoln.
do the top 5 list of Stugotz's teams that LeBron has nodded at. How tall was Abraham Lincoln actually tall, or was he tall for the time?
You might have to put Trump in there.
No, he was like 6'4", wasn't he? And he also had a big hat.
Big hat.
So.
Bad spatial awareness by Lincoln, though.
Trump's a good golfer.
Gerald Ford was a Michigan football player.
He was.
Yeah. Wasn't Reagan an athlete as well?
He was an
actor.
Also an athlete.
Well, he played George
Also
Gipp.
an athlete.
He played George Gipp in
an
Newt
athlete.
Rockney All-American.
The Gipper.
Win one for the Gipper.
Do you have any OLIs here, Stugotz? Top 5 teams that LeBron has just
Obama.
sort of nodded to.
Looks like Abe was 6'3".
He wrestled.
Oh, we got this first pitch now. Oh,
I think they gave heights that were lies back then.
They were inflating?
Oh, and we don't do that anymore.
I think they did it more back there with presidents. I think they did it with the measurement systems on presidents.
Top of the bump, too. He went. There's no front of the mound here.
Stugotz, did you Google this? Because there is a list.
I did not. No.
Yeah, the
like
Dallas,
Teddy Roosevelt.
The Dallas Observer
on
put
it.
together a list.
He was
Gerald
a
Ford.
sportsman.
Yeah, Gerald Ford was indeed number one.
Good pitch.
They put Obama number 2.
A bit of a meatball, though,
That's
to
bullshit.
be honest. If there was a batter there,
It
that
was
would
not-
have been home run derby
pressure.
pitch.
Stugotz is
I would have invited GW to go pitch my home run derby the next season because it was
Yeah.
right
It was
down
a
the
batting
middle, and it was
practice
yeah,
fastball.
man.
It was a derby pitch.
Luckily, they
imagine Josh Hamilton and George W. Bush in the same home run derby.
They listed bona fides as to why these presidents deserve to be on this list. Number 2 is Obama.
Is that
He
right?
led Occidental in scoring.
On purpose, though.
Dwight Eisenhower was a linebacker / running back at Army,
How about that?
and he hurt a knee tackling Jim Thorpe.
Damn right he did.
Yeah. George H.W. Bush was a left-handed first baseman that led Yale to the College World Series in 1948.
And
Yeah, and Ronald Reagan played the Gipper.
thank you.
So was he an actual athlete? Did he play football? Did he play baseball? Ronald
Jimmy
Reagan?
Carter played baseball and ran cross country in Navy.
Huh.
See, all these guys are playing for schools that are not known for their athletic exploits. I need someone who played somewhere like who played at Michigan. Joe Ford.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ford did.
that counts.
So the
That's
Dallas
legit.
Observer, to close out their list, is George W. Bush, and his bona fides is the pitch at the World Series.
It was such a different time that I will tell you, even though Stugotz can be forgiven for remembering that as heat, even though it was just a lollipop that he served up over home plate. At that very time, I thought, right around then, you know what? You know who'd make a good president? Rudy Giuliani.
Oh,
Jesus
we were
Christ.
He had a moment.
Cold
Yeah.
open for SNL.
I think
Leadership.
People that lived in New York were not on the same wave.
Yeah,
Bing
no,
bong.
not. Yeah, no, definitely not.
Jessica
on the same wave.
might
America's mayor.
She might say that, but the fear after 9/11 was such that anyone who ran into that breach and seemed like a leader, we were willing to latch onto, independent of almost anything
Well,
else.
that's why Jordan came back.
Yep. Saved us.
I also like how you said the fear after 9/11. There was definitely a fear after 9/11, fear of terrorism, but also a fear after 9/11 in New York City of being any ethnicity other than white.
That's correct. Which was part of what it is that
America's
Giuliani
mayor.
was leading. Yes, that's part of what it is that Jessica was objecting to, because a lot of people in New York did know about the whole Giuliani and Trump thing, but it caught some of the rest of America off guard, including me, because I'm telling you, Giuliani going into the rubble and being one of the first to go into the rubble fearlessly was an act that many of us took as that person isn't going to, 25 years later, be an insane person outside Four Seasons towing with hair dye running down the side of his face.
Not
Total
outside
landscaping.
landscaping, exactly.
Whatever. Four Seasons towing sounds better than landscaping. Sounds even worse.
Four Seasons Orlando sounds even better.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And that baby looked like it had a blast there, by the way.
Do they have a Four Seasons in Monaco? I'm just asking. Summer vacation.
There's a Two Seasons in Austin. We stayed there once.
You want to talk more about the gender of your children?
Oh, no.
Wow, that's
Stop
a low
it.
blow, dude.
Come on, man.
More work for everybody else to edit.
Wow, man.
Congratulations,
That
Dan. They
was-
love you even more now.
Top 5 reasons,
Monaco.
top 5 nods that LeBron has given various teams. Number 5.
San Antonio Spurs. They have 2 picks. They have the 4th pick. They have the 9th pick. They use the 4th on a player that will help them be better. They use the 9th on Bronny. They get LeBron, Bronny, Bron, Wemby, Pop, no JJ Redick.
Number 4.
Number 4, Memphis. Ja Morant is back next year, Dan. They draft. Thank you. Bronny at number 9. Fire their coach and replace him with JJ Redick.
Number 3.
Oklahoma City. Loves the GM. 1 seed in the West. Put him with SGA. You get Bronny. You get JJ Redick. You win a title.
Sounds like what a pro wants.
Number 2.
The Cavs. Bickerstaff is out. JJ is in. And what a story. Cleveland's favorite son comes home with his son.
You got one better than that?
The Knicks.
That's the worst. The worst. I wanted this segment to offer Stugotz a hearty mazel tov because Tariq Cohen has become a New York Jet for a year, but he has gone outside to smoke a celebratory heater, and he is not here to enjoy and share my congratulations. I do want to ask the room about the New York Jets. What's the best story for Aaron Rodgers this year? Him being great or him being terrible?
I was going to say The Lord of the Rings, but then you started saying Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. I reread The Fellowship of the Ring this weekend.
Really?
Yeah. Started The Two Towers yesterday again. Doing a big reread. Ring of Power coming back in August. The best story about Aaron Rodgers, I mean, I think it just depends, Dan. I think Jets fans are like, this has got to be it, right? Like, something's got to happen this year. But all the people that don't like Aaron Rodgers thought last year was the best story because he got hurt after like 3 snaps.
So I'm asking all of, not just Jets fans, I'm asking everybody, the best thing that can possibly happen from a content perspective.
He tears his other Achilles running out to the field with an American flag would be funny just because that would be the lasting image. And it's not funny to the person so much as it is to the franchise. Me personally, I want to see Aaron Rodgers play well.
I think him being great is the best story.
I want to see him play well outside of Green Bay. Look at what a big deal he was last year. A lot of it's because of some of the ridiculous things that he said, most of it anyways. But I would like to see that franchise have Aaron Rodgers be great in that uniform. Time's ticking down here. Like, this might be his last season, for real. And I haven't seen him be great in about a year and a half, and I want to see him be great again on the field.
I heard Tom Bombadil was going to be in the new season of Rings of Power, which is really exciting because he wasn't in the Fellowship of the Ring. They cut that entire chapter, those 2 chapters, really out of the movies. But he's a lot of people's favorite character. And a lot of people were talking about on Twitter last week. It was like a Twitter prompt. It was like, who are 2 people that matched each other's freak? And Tom Bombadil and Goldberry was my vote because those 2, they're just out there in the woods, eating dinner, running around, talking to trees, singing songs. I mean, total freaks. I love them.
He doesn't actually have to be great. That defense was really fun to watch, and the quarterback put them in really bad positions. If he's just okay, it might be good enough. I also don't watch porn.
If you're a person that doesn't like Aaron Rodgers and you root for bad things to happen to him for whatever reason, is it funnier if he gets hurt again or if he's just bad? Like, he's healthy the entire season and just is bad.
Yeah, I think that's the option. That's the option you want. Because make no mistake about it, Aaron Rodgers being great and leading the Jets to the Super Bowl is only a good story in New York to Jets fans. To the rest of the country, I think there's Aaron Rodgers fatigue. I think we're all rooting against the guy. I think he's a blowhard. I think he's just...
The reasons that you outlined are why he's also garnered a lot of support from people that don't necessarily follow football all that passionately. Like, he is held up by a lot of people because he espouses the virtues that they believe in.
I think the perfect start is give them a good hot start, maybe first 5-6 weeks of the season. Jets fans get real excited, and then it all crumbles.
I don't know what Pornhub is. Someone had to explain it to me.
There are a number of things here that can be interesting about this. Him being excellent at this age, just because LeBron and Taurasi and Serena Williams and some people and Tom Brady of some age have shown us that a different result could be possible. At any other point in human history other than now, we'd be declaring Aaron Rodgers at this age done. Quarterbacks can't play that position well into their 40s. The idea of the Jets swallowing his excellence is super interesting, but him getting his voice amplified when making choices that have resulted in a marketing meeting where State Farm got together and said, you know what, I know we've been using Aaron Rodgers as our commercial spokesman, but we're going to have to go to the Lopez brothers now because what's working with Aaron Rodgers is palatable and safe to all of America. We're going to have to pull that. For him to go from the choices he's made to basically shredding what used to be his identity as a careful quarterback who wouldn't say the things that he's presently saying. If he were also to be great in New York, it would capture the league by storm.
Chris mentioned Aaron getting off to a hot start and things falling apart. Now, they start out in San Francisco. If they win that game, obviously that's huge, but they could drop that one. Then they're at Tennessee. That should be a win. They're versus New England. New England's kind of in disarray. That one should be a win. Versus Denver, you think that one's a win.
3-1,
versus Minnesota, probably a win there.
4-1.
Then they host Buffalo. Now, Buffalo, that's a statement game there. Week 6 versus Buffalo, that's a big measuring stick game for Aaron and the Jets.
That's where I want the peak to be.
Really?
I want that to be. I
You
want them to
win that game.
Win that game. Be 5-1 after Monday Night Football. Jets fans feeling themselves, and then the down. Then,
Okay, well then they head to Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh by week 7, I think we've already penciled in a quarterback controversy because when you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. Then you're off to New England. That's a win. Then you host the Texans. That one could be interesting. Week 9, Halloween night on a Thursday Night Football versus Houston. Toss-up probably. Then you head out to Arizona for Week 10. That's a Sunday game. Then you host the Colts in Week 11. Then your bye week is Week 12. Great bye week. Week 12 bye week is good in the NFL. Dolphins, I believe, a Week 6 bye week. Bad bye. You don't want it that early. Come back. Week 13.
We've got a minor penalty for derailing.
What's this? Chris it off around the sounder, it sounds like.
No,
so
you got 2 minutes for derailing, for insisting
13,
on doing one. They won this
wins
one,
and
they
losses,
lost this one. Yeah, get out.
Versus the Seahawks.
Good news, Brazzers has a free trial.
I'll be back.
Thank you. Don't threaten us.
Genesis is in there.
Go ahead
Wait.
and
Can I go to the penalty box?
fire off. No.
Monaco. That was so stupid when you did that, Dan. That was so embarrassing.
Nope. You can.
I thought Ring of Power season 1 was really good. I'm trying to derail someone, please. Give me a penalty. My back.
Stat of the day music, please.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
So the Jets host the Dolphins on
Billy mentioned
December
the Vikings,
8th at
and
1.
ML Football has this stat that surprised me. Two-time champion Eli Manning, in his career, threw more touchdown passes to the Vikings in games played against the Vikings than he did against the Vikings. Threw more touchdown passes to the Vikings than he threw to the Giants while playing against the Vikings.
Huh.
That's a bit hard to believe. Wouldn't you say that there would be more pick sixes that he had in Vikings games than touchdown passes? I wanted to ask you, since your back, Stu, got smelling like cigarettes, as it relates to the Jets. We were talking about what the better story is, and I believe that Aaron Rodgers elevating the Jets out of their lifetime of incompetence is a better story than the Jets just dragging down the end of Aaron Rodgers' career like they dragged down the rest of everybody's career. It would be amazing to see in that division where that team has been the worst in the history of that division.
Yes.
There are fewer division titles there than the Colts have in that division. I don't know if the Oilers a million years ago also won more somehow in that division, but him lifting them from the muck, we were talking about whether the story would be better. Jessica was arguing for Jets fans it would be better. I think it's better for football, and I think it's better for people's interest in football, just generally, if the Jets are good because Aaron Rodgers makes them good.
How about this show? Like, what's the best result for this show? It's Aaron getting hurt early, right? You guys would laugh at me.
I don't want to do that.
No?
That we've done it already. It was done as well and as funny as it can be done.
Yeah.
To me, at this point, it would be redundant.
I mean, if it happens twice.
A second time, Dan?
I don't want
the same exact thing happens.
Story.
I'm not,
Other leg.
Three plays
come
in.
on.
I mean,
That's not
come
a good
on.
story. It's not a good story.
I mean, that show after is pretty hilarious.
Dan, the exact same number of plays, the opposite leg.
It'd be a good story.
It's a fun story.
The stuff he's saying is like legitimately crazy.
That's
like,
correct.
It
has to be said.
It is super offensive and crazy.
That's right.
Yes.
Him making more of a platform, more of a mess, more relevance because he gets more of a voice to do these other things because football gives him a voice. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just talking as a story by itself. I don't think it's good for the country. I'm just talking about the interest around football.
Them being good would be a great story.
Part of the story is that he said that the government created AIDS on a podcast.
Oh, no, I know. Listen, he's not the most likable fellow in the world. I get it. I understand that. I'm having a hard time, getting myself to root for Aaron Rodgers.
I don't believe that.
Well, you're right.
I don't believe that.
You had every reason to say that and question me. I was lying. I am rooting for Aaron Rodgers, but Dan is right because it's a New York team. They've been terrible forever. Aaron Rodgers against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs would be something that everyone would get excited about.
Or just in the regular season. Every time that they've teased us with a potential matchup, one of the two has been injured. Imagine all the people that went to the secondary market looking for tickets and weren't able to get because the demand was so high. Well, I know a place where you can actually get tickets on that secondary market, even if the demand is high. And that place is Game Time, guys. Game Time.
Do they have anything for Week 15 Jets at Jaguars?
I guarantee you they do. But
That's
you may want
win.
to. But sometimes if you wait up closer to the actual event, you'll get these crazy flash deals on the Game Time app. Yeah. I want you right now listening to my voice to create an account and use the code DAN, that is DAN, and you will get $20 off your first purchase. Wow. I've used this promo code. I'm itching to find other promo codes because I'm on Game Time so much. Terms apply, last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. That part is important because if you find a cheaper ticket out there, they will match and then some over at Game Time. Great customer service. Love you, Game Time.
The thing that you're articulating, Jessica, about whether it would be good for America or not, more division ain't good for America. More platforming of insanity is not good for America. But I'm strictly looking at this as a football story. Like, what is the best result that is going to attract the most interest? We could do one show off of him getting injured again. Him making that team relevant and furthering his own platform while making it relevant, I'm not rooting for it, but it would be the more interesting story.
The best story is Jets-Packers Super Bowl, and Jordan Love outplays Aaron Rodgers, and they win the game.
the podcast that Greg Cody does, and we celebrate it here every week, and he thanks our listeners for their giant support of what it is that he's doing, the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody. He often shows dangerously bad judgment. So when he comes in here and tells me, I want to talk about something that we talked about on our podcast, and he frames it as, I'd like to make fun of an illness that is funny because of what it's named, I get scared. I don't want to do that without any proper vetting.
Well, give it a shot.
Well, I see all. Right. Yes, I'm not surprised that fear sweeps through the room, and then you immediately emerge and are like, "Yeah, sure, talk about whatever Greg Cody is talking about that makes fun of serious illness."
And we're live.
We've made fun of Ligma for years, Dan, on this show.
He's just saying, hear him out. That's all.
Yeah. Okay, but I think there's the danger in bad judgment is that once you hear it out, you cause the problems that you can't then correct if this hasn't been properly vetted.
Yeah.
And so I'm
vetting, schmetting.
Exactly right.
Yeah, I mean,
then the pepper
vetting,
happened, and that became the whole thing.
Core vetting is more like it.
Right.
I wouldn't worry about vetting this. I would just trust my judgment.
I mean, he did talk about it on the Greg Cody Show,
And he's here.
he didn't get fired or anything.
Right.
So.
Well, who would fire him?
I do like to say mumps.
I would fire myself.
Would you?
I think I might if I said the wrong thing.
You wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm very sensitive.
I don't think
And then what would you do? Would you pull yourself into the office, have a sit down, Greg? We got to talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't fire myself. I would suspend myself for 3 days so that I would be back in time to do the
you
next
say
episode.
indefinitely.
Right. How about
And then
3 podcasts?
Indefinitely,
Not 3
right.
Say
days.
indefinitely a week later.
And would you understand as being the one getting suspended by yourself? Would you understand?
I would be very upset at first, and then I would forgive myself.
Yeah, I suppose.
I would. Yeah.
There are some funny named diseases and ailments. I think we can agree. My mom had a brain tumor that was named after Sonic the Hedgehog.
There you go. See?
Huh.
You can look that up.
That's a first-person experience.
I still feel awkward laughing about that, though.
Yeah.
She had a brain tumor called a Sonic Hedgehog brain tumor. It's objectively funny.
That is funny.
It's funny. And if you're the medical community getting together saying, what should we name this? And that's what came up on my podcast.
More funny names?
The great Celine Dion. Okay, the great Celine Dion suffers from a malady.
Hold on.
That
Hear him out.
involves...
This is
horrible. This is the hearing out
This one's bad.
phase.
I might
This is
jump off the
horrible.
Greg
This
Raff.
is
This is the
horrible.
vetting. This is the
Where did you say
vetting.
Genesis
We're
was?
vetting.
Here we will then
This
tell
is-
him if
I
it's
don't-
okay or not
I don't want-
okay.
I don't want to be around during this.
Okay,
This is not great.
It's a malady. Look, I did the limbo, bending over backward, to say I am not making fun of this disease or people who suffer from it, because it is an incurable disease having to do with the joints, and it gets worse and worse over time.
It sounds like a horrible prison.
Limbo's like a weird
Yeah.
reference to pull also
Thank you.
concerning this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyway.
You're welcome.
Okay, and I'm just wondering, the medical community at some point got together and said, what should we call this disease that affects people's joints? And what they came up with, which struck me as funny, was stiff person syndrome.
I regret this so much.
I mean, stiff person syndrome. You know,
why would I ever follow
the
Billy?
sim-
anyway?
Let's not let. Look,
Why would
we
I
heard him
ever
out. Let's
follow
not.
him?
Let's not go down
Oh,
this
now,
path.
thank you.
We heard him out.
listening. Yeah,
This
stop
is the
listening.
vetting.
Billy,
Let's
Greg,
not go
Billy
down this path.
and Greg Cody, both of you go sit in the
Well, hold
penalty
on, better
box.
name
I don't want
for this
to.
malady.
I don't want to hear him out anymore.
We're not going to. We're said no more. We're going to go a different
No,
path on this
go.
one. Greg, I think you should send yourself to the penalty box. Have a conversation with yourself.
You know what? I
You
might do
wronged.
that.
I
might do that.
Got a minor penalty, 2 minutes for ruining comedy.
I think the rule is yourself or an immediate family member has to have stiff person
That
syndrome.
helps.
When
That
you
helps.
did it, it worked because you had.
I didn't know he was gonna go with Celine Dion, especially after that video just came out where she was. I think there's a documentary about her coming out, and it just seemed what she's going through seems horrible.
horribly sad.
And I just saw that trailer a few days ago, and now Greg comes in with this, and it doesn't feel the same as me laughing about Sonic the Hedgehog.
I feel like if Celine had watched this, she'd smile.
I
and be
love that
like,
Greg put you all in this spot.
He's harmless.
He's gone. You're still like
we fell for it.
It's not falling for it. If somebody were to go back, I encourage people who are listening to the very start of this show on YouTube to listen to the first time Billy spoke on today's show, because about 4 or 5 minutes in, he decided to get in, and it was just to keep the balloon in the air on supporting Greg Cody on something that couldn't be supported. It is
that should be an Olympic game, by the way. Keepy uppy, Chris. I feel like we could be on a team in the Olympics. Just keep the balloon up.
It is what he does, Billy does, with the entirety of his career. It's what he has dedicated himself to.
Supporting things that shouldn't be supported.
Can't be supported.
Sometimes it floats away. You kick it with a big toe.
And sometimes it explodes and the entire company descends into the sewage.
You know what? The one thing that I have to say about stiff person syndrome, it's a very serious malady. And there are variations of it. I'm suffering from stiff person syndrome right now.
I don't.
The trailing.
He just made an erection joke. Like, that's the last thing that you heard.
It's an erection year, Dan.
Yeah.
No, if you go to the penalty box instead of me, I'm going to kick your ass.
No,
buddy.
you can stay there for It's an Erection Year. I'm not kicking you out for that. Chris is just trying to signal his dad on how not to ruin comedy, and his dad isn't taking any of the cues.
Well, look, there's a nickname for stiff person syndrome, and it's called erectile function syndrome. So, baby!
All right, just get him out of here.
That'll be all with that.
Just get him out of here. Just terrible judgment all around.
I'm sorry.
Are you? Are you?
I am.
No, because you and Billy spend all of your Tuesdays here. You do. It is true.
What do you
It
mean?
is true. You, Billy, and Cody exist to make my Tuesdays a lot harder than they should be and threaten the company from every angle.
Speaking of harder, what?
He doesn't know how to play with the show. You can't orchestrate the comedy. You can't teach him how to do it. You just got to sit back and watch him fail.
No, it's like
and
he's
flail.
already been really offensive, and they want him to make a more offensive joke, but he doesn't want to go there.
We found the line.
Oh, did you?
He already went there.
Finally. You finally found it. I want to check in here, and this is bad judgment by me, but go ahead and hand that microphone over to Taylor, please, because I don't want to do this anymore with Greg Cody. I do want to go to Taylor because I am told that he has a top 5 list that includes some observations, having golfed with the Codys this weekend, some observations that might not be offensive, that might be funny, endearing, and illuminating about what it is to spend time with the father-son tandem of Greg and Chris Cody. What do you think is going to be revealed here, Stugotz?
I'm not certain, but as you said, Taylor did play golf with Greg and Chris Cody on Sunday. I have played golf with both of them at the same time. It's a hoot. It is. It's fun. Like Greg Cody on the golf course is a lot of fun. But I can't imagine what Taylor took down as his top 5 observations of Greg Cody playing golf, because all my observations are good ones.
Before we get to Taylor doing this, Chris and Greg, what are you fearing here from having played golf with Taylor? Observing you two in the wild is pretty funny. You guys have interesting father-son chemistry.
He got the full experience. Like, I kind of don't want to get into what some of the stuff he did because I feel like it might be on his list. But my dad, I know my dad has his things on the golf course, and he played the hits for Taylor. Taylor got the full experience. Uncle Dick was out there.
Oh, wow. What a round.
Yeah.
What a foursome.
Yes.
And Uncle Dick can bring out the worst in me, believe me.
Talk about erection.
But I'm worried what Taylor's going to say, because golf, for some reason, I think it's because it frustrates me so much. I want to be always better than I am. And so golf tends to bring out the worst in me in a lot of ways. So.
And the alcohol.
Well, that kind of thing, huh?
Taylor, are we setting this up with OLI, or what do you have here? Do you just want to go straight to the top 5?
Straight into the top 5.
All right. And these are just observations from golfing with the Codys?
With Greg, specifically.
Greg? Okay. Greg. It's more. So does his son even need to be there?
Anyone else.
It's just
Cars
Greg.
aren't interesting.
Is Uncle Dick making an appearance here, or it's just featuring
Mostly
Greg?
Some feuds between Greg and Chris.
Okay. Yes, there are a lot of those that break out. Number 5, Taylor.
Hearing an "Oh fuck me" live after Greg shanks a shot. It was magical.
It's a staple.
I'm not denying it.
So seeing
ASMR.
seeing one live, Yeah.
Oh, no.
You're right.
Go.
You're okay.
Go.
You're all right.
Oh, fuck me.
I meant to play the last part. My bad.
Number
You're
four.
getting one of those a hole.
Number 4.
Greg keeping score and getting mad at Chris for saying par and not a number.
It's one of the most annoying things my dad does. Like, hey, it's a par 4. After the hole, I say par. He's like, what is it? A 4?
Just give me a number.
It's on the
I don't want to look
scorecard.
at a scorecard. I don't have to resort to looking at a scorecard. Just say 4 so I don't have to go back to my cart and look at a scorecard and figure out what hole.
I mean, you're writing it on the scorecard.
Yeah.
It's right in front of you.
Okay, to say 4 and to say par is the same amount of effort.
Yep.
It's one syllable.
He's right.
So when the scorekeeper is asking you, what'd you get that hole? Just give me a numeral. That's all. It's exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
You seem tired. You're reacting as if you're tired of this from your son. Your son's not changing it at this point.
This is not a first. Would you? And he rubs it in by saying the word par, by the way.
That's why he's
You
saying
know,
it.
I mean, I get 1 par a month. He gets 7 around. And so you're subtly rubbing it in by saying par.
I'm just saying par. That's
All right,
what I'm
just
doing.
say 3 or 4 or 5. That's all you got to say.
You're really mad about this.
It's annoying. Golf brings out the worst in me. I admit that. And I apologize ahead of time for whatever these next
That's
three
what
are
you're
gonna be.
apologizing for in this segment?
Well, he should be apologizing because I ask him every single round, could you just give me a number, please, instead of saying par, birdie,
Quit being so stiff.
bogey.
Number 3.
Greg saying if he gets a hole-in-one on the par 3, we have to stop the round for an emergency Greg Cody show with Greg Cody.
Yeah. An emergency episode. I say that because it's never going to happen.
featuring.
It's never going to happen. I've been playing golf for 40 years, 30 years, and it hasn't happened yet, so why should it
Just
start
hold
now?
up. So what you're saying is if you make a hole-in-one, you're telling Chris he's got to go back to the house and bring back the equipment so that you
Yeah.
guys can do at that hole the live hole-in-one coverage
Right.
emergency podcast.
Yeah, while 150 golfers are queued up waiting because we're on the green for an hour and a half.
Number 2.
If you don't give Greg a putt he thinks is a gimme, he'll hold it against you for the rest of the round.
Oh, my God. I can't believe there's one better than that. That is the pet peeve. If I'm standing over a putt that's 1.5 feet and nobody is giving me a gimme.
You measured it with your putter.
Okay, so I was 2 inches over. You can't do me a solid? I mean, and then if I have to putt and I miss the putt, oh, my God.
But then it wasn't a gimme if you missed it.
It should have been. Should have been a gimme. That's why they call it a gimme, because you're giving somebody something.
Yes.
It's death, taxes, and my dad walking off a green, huffing and puffing, saying, I'm not giving out any more gimmies.
And I'm
no
not.
more gimmies.
I won't give out. You could be on the lip of the cup, and I'm going to make you make that 1/4-inch putt. I'm no
if
more
they don't
gimmies.
give you one, right?
Right,
Right.
yes.
Then you're not giving them one.
Done.
Correct. I love you.
Right.
Number 1.
Greg playing a hole complaining that his glove feels uncomfortable, only to realize it was on the wrong hand.
There was one.
Oh, my God. That did happen.